Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video is taking what we did on Tuesday and turning it into a final project. So thank you for joining me, and we're going to get right into it. So this is the kit that came with the stencil or template that we were using on Tuesday. And real quick, I'm just kind of looking over everything, trying to make sure I grab all the pieces that we're going to need. Okay, so I have some of these flares that may be able to use or add to the layout. I think some of the colors match, but I'm gonna be honest. During this, I forget to even add the flare, but I do add one later. But it was after I took pictures and everything, so I just put one of the owls on it. Okay, so now I'm just grabbing all the papers that they're saying we need to use for this layout. In hindsight, being 2020, initially I took off, I want to say, a half an inch on both sides of the like minty color paper, and I thought it wasn't enough, and I wind up taking another half inch off. I probably should have just done 3/4 inch. Like it was a half an inch wasn't enough, but the second half inch was probably too much. Do you know what I mean? So I'm taking the branding strip off, and on the mint one, it was a little bit harder to see, but there was one side that was better than the other. And this is where I go to start cutting it off. And like I tell you, usually cut smaller amounts. If you're not sure, I should have double checked with the half an inch. And I think I did. I want to say I put it on top of the 12 by 12 paper, and I just felt like it wasn't enough of a border. And that's why I went the full half. But I probably should have just did, like I said, another quarter. And that was better. Yeah, I liked how it looked on top of that paper, but the problem was this paper, they had you do it at 10 and 3/4, I think it was. And that was, it doesn't give you a big enough border between the mint and this flower sheet. So, sometimes you can go exactly by the measurements. I didn't see a measurement for the mint, which is why I was kind of guessing. So on this one, on mine, the mint color isn't a really big matte. It gives you a little bit of a matte, but it wasn't like huge. And it doesn't upset me or bother me. I'm just letting you know, if you go to do something like this, if you go to lay it down and it's not going the way that you want it, it's okay, because it's going to be really close to what they put together, and it's still a beautiful layout. Okay, so I sort of got everything planned. I'm going to go ahead and start putting all the layers together, and then that way we can get started laying everything out. And of course, we got to run out of tape, right? Because that's just, the way it goes. So I'm going to grab my ATG tape. I always leave 1 to 2 next to me, so that way if it does go out during the video, I can just grab it. I don't have to go searching. Okay, sorry y'all. I am trying to get this up for you as quick as possible, because I was working on it yesterday, which would have been Tuesday. And how about I went to sleep and totally forgot about doing my voiceover, which is why I'm doing it now, to get it up now. Okay. And so now, yeah. Okay, so now we're all done with that, and we're just going to go ahead and tape it up. And I always use wet glue. If this is your first time coming to my videos, don't be surprised. You'll see wet glue and tape all the time for me. And I do that not to just be wasteful with adhesive. It gives me a little bit of time that I can get my stuff laid down and hopefully get it as straight as possible. And you'll see, as I'm trying to work on stuff, I do have to pick it up a couple of times just to kind of um, make it like lay exactly where I want. See, like I just picked it up again. I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for the wet glue. Okay. So it's, if you need help, if you need that little bit of time, I highly suggest you use your wet glue. You're not going to be disappointed. You really not. Okay. So let's see. We're taping up this piece, and then here is when I realized, oh, T, you're supposed to put the stuff. So in the kit was the orange twine that you're supposed to wrap around and then tie a bow. Um, on the layout itself, it was on the left hand side, I want to say. For my layout, I'm putting it at the bottom. So once I got it kind of where I wanted it, I'm just gonna try and make sure I'm as straight as possible and then make my bow, and then anything that's hanging off, I'm just gonna trim it. And there's my bow. All right, so now I can put my paper down, add my glue, and put this down. All right. And then on this one, at first, as I was getting ready to start laying it down, I realized, no, you got it down too far. So I had to pull it up just a little bit. And then that's a nice, even border all the way around. So I am happy with how my layers end up being. Like I said, if you find that you need or you want a little bit more of the mint underneath showing, then just, play with your measurements. Maybe take another little 1/4 inch off. It would have added another 1/8 of an inch around all the sides. So since I turned my photos in the different direction, I'm using the similar stuff. I'm just going to put them in slightly different areas. So instead of putting it on the photo, I'm going to put it on the border part of the mat. Okay. And then I'm going to also grab the sentiment stickers. And even with my glasses on, it was kind of hard to see like what the sentiments were. It doesn't matter. You could probably use whatever sentiments you want. The sentiments that it looked like were on it, I liked for this layout. So I grabbed them anyway. I also grabbed the one pumpkin and then the double pumpkins that were on the sticker and a flower. So when you have sets like this, they really don't have a whole lot in the ephemera. You can make the stickers into ephemera. And all you do is you take your baby powder, if you have baby powder in your craft room, or if you like doing embossing, the powder that you use to remove static, you can use that. And it literally takes the sticker and turn it into a piece of ephemera. And you can add tape or foam tape. You could add fun foam. You can do all kinds of things with it. A lot of times I leave the stickiness and just add whatever like I'm trying to pop it up with on the back. And then that I don't have to worry about gluing it down to it. And then I just leave the backing on where I can move stuff around and figure out exactly where I want it. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Uh, as far as like if you want to give stuff some height, some stuff I just want to glue straight down. I put some foam behind the sentiment, the gather, because I really want it to have a little bit of height difference, and I think it helps bring it up from the that pattern paper, which can feel, a little busy. And then I realized part of the R and the G needed some foam tape, but I needed thinner foam tape. So I cut my piece, cut it in half again, and it allows me to be able to manipulate and make it go around the curve. And then the other side I'm going to put for the R, and then what was left over I'm going to put up at the top. Because I just want to make sure it's nice and even and sturdy all around. Okay. And then we're just taking the backing off. And I always hit it with some glue. always, because again, if I put it down and it don't look right, I want to be able to pick it right back up, and I don't want to damage any of my papers if I have to do that. All right, so now we're getting ready to add down some of the pieces. That was from the page pieces, the little pink piece there. I put one at the bottom of the photo, and then one I'm going to put up at the top where my best friend is, Beatrice. And so there's going to be a cluster up there, and a cluster down at the bottom right. And I'm not going to put anything in the center before I say that, and it turns out I did. No, the center of the photos, I'm not going to put anything because I don't want to cover up the baby. And I think it didn't need it, you know. I liked it without doing that. And then I'm putting foam on the back of the flower. So that way we have a little bit of height difference here. A little bit of glue. And put that down. And then let's see. I'm going to add the first sentiment. Now, at first, I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to put it, but I kind of like them better up here towards the top part. So I'm just going to put 1 and 2 right there, and then try and straighten that other one. And I think that works. And then I do wind up putting a little dab of glue underneath where the bow is on the string. But you do have to keep your finger there for just a few seconds so it doesn't keep moving or shifting. And then I put a little bit on each end as well. Only because I really wanted the string to kind of stay where it's at. I didn't want it to be moving all over the place. All right, so the next thing that I saw in the picture is some enamel dots. So we're going to put down 3 over here, 3 up at the top, and I like to use them in the center of flowers. So sometimes if I see, you know, a flower near, like on this one, I put 1 in the center of the flower, and then 1 at the top, and 1 kind of towards the bottom. And I just use 3 different sizes. I love when they're small, medium, and large. I really do. And then I'm putting 3 down here next to the gather together. And let me tell you, I think sequins, enamel dots, anything that you're putting down, like if you're following a picture or something like that, go rogue, okay? If you want to add some more, add some more. It's okay if you want to use different colors and 3s, however you want to do it. I say go for it, because at the end of the day, I like odd numbers. I didn't want to have it to be even. And so I put down another 3 more. So that way I have 9 enamel dots on my page. Now we're coming up to my favorite part. Dun, dun, dun. You guys know I'm going to splatter. Okay. So for this layout, I grabbed my fossilized amber. I got to hit it with my gold. And then I am going to wind up hitting it with the Distress Mica stain. This is the Fresh Balsam. I'm going to shake that up. And when I shook it up, it turned like a really dark green. However, when it dried, it's really, really pretty. I have it here next to me, actually. And it actually matches the base page color, which is so cool in the shimmer. And then I used white. So I did those 2 like shimmers or spritz and the mica stain, and then just hit it off with the Distress Picket Fence. And that's it. And our layout is done. I'm going to hold it up close so you can kind of see the different splatters. And on this, they're really subtle. But once those spritz dry, I'm telling you, you're going to love them. If you don't have them, go get them. Run, do not walk, and go get you some spritz or mica sprays. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. Please consider hitting that like, subscribe, and share button. And I will see you guys with our next video. I will have a Friday video, which is technically the project after last week's Technique Tuesday. So it's finally finished. I completed it and it's going to be up on Friday. So I'll see you guys then. Have a great one.